What is going on, guys? Welcome to Greggles TV. In this video, we're going to talk about if the Galaxy Z Fold line is leaving a bad taste in your mouth to the point where you would never potentially ever buy another Galaxy Z Fold phone ever again, because they released this phone right off the bat. It had issues, had big time issues where people were tearing off the quote unquote screen protector and it would damage the display to the point where it would do these like weird looking black and white things and just wouldn't work. And then it's evolved throughout the years. It's gotten better in terms of malfunctioning in different ways. And that sometimes, it is kind of a fragile phone overall. And I think with all these things that hold it back, I kind of want to, start the conversation with you guys to get your feedback as well, to see if, has these things that are wrong with it that are affecting your memories and vibes towards it to the point where you would never buy it in the future because of these reasons. I think the first thing that pops out about the Galaxy Z Fold line, and it did right when it was released, is the price. Now the price has dropped a couple $100s over the years. It may drop even more this year and more in the future, which I expect it to, but still it came out with this entirely high price, probably a more expensive phone than most people have ever thought to purchase at about $2,000, and has hovered with that $2,000 to $1,700 to $1,800 price range for basically forever. And this is before trade-ins we're talking about and different sales they've had on the phone. But still, it's a very expensive phone and can potentially leave a bad taste in someone's mouth, to where when they think of that phone and any of these things that I'm going to talk about, they might be like, oh my God, that's the expensive phone. I am not going to pay that. And they might not even know, hey, it dropped down to $1,200 6 years from now. So it's something to think about. Is that high price always going to be an issue in people's minds? Or at least are they always going to, put high prices in their mind, that memory with it? Next is big and clunky. And I don't personally find this to be a clunky device. I find it to be fairly easy to maneuver. I'm very comfortable with it. It's definitely big, don't get me wrong. Currently, when you close it, it's kind of a thick device. When you open it up, it's got this huge display, which is the main reason I love this phone. But some people might look at this and have had this and consider it a clunky device. And I think if I probably couldn't use some kind of phone grip / pop socket with it, I probably wouldn't be as big a fan of it, because it is so big and it would probably be a little uncomfortable to use for the most part. So I think big and clunky might be a memory that always comes back to people's memories, where they think of the Galaxy Z Fold line and they're like, nope, don't want that. It's big, it's clunky. I just don't want something like that. Now, if you use the Galaxy Z Fold line, one of the things you'll realize is how skinny and small this front display is. And there's rumors that the newer version that comes out with the Z Fold 4 potentially would have a fatter display, but using this skinny outside display is really something to learn to use, because using the keyboard, for instance, is like using a little baby phone or something. You have any bit of fat on your fingers, you are gonna typo for absolute sure. And then just consuming any type of content, at least for me, is not very comfortable. It's skinny, it's long, it's hard to see. Just not a huge fan of it. And then also taking into the fact the first 2 generations had a 60 hertz display, and the inside display at one point, at least on the second and the third generations, had 120 hertz, was all smooth and beautiful. And now they did give 120 on the third generation, but still, things like that, are they always going to equate that outside display to be not very fun and enjoyable to use? Cameras are a huge reason people buy phones, and the Galaxy Z Fold line shouldn't be, at least currently, a reason why you buy the phone for its camera, because the cameras thus far have been okay. They're not the worst, they're definitely not the best, and they don't fit the price that you pay for this phone. When you pay such a premium price, you deserve premium product that you get. And for the most part, it is a premium product, but the cameras are just subpar, especially when you compare it to their Galaxy S21 Ultra, again, where the time period I'm talking about, the Note 20 Ultra, some of their other phones that really have great cameras. The Z Fold line has just been pretty much okay at best, serviceable, maybe a little bit better than serviceable. And all these things add up, and you think oh, when you buy a phone, generally you equate things to that. And I just hope and I know they will, they'll put better cameras on this, but it just creates such a memory after 3 generations of people adding and adding and adding all these memories up to be like, you know what, that phone is gonna have a bad camera. It's a high price. I don't want it. One of the things I absolutely complain about all the time, battery life on this. Some people, and it's all mixed, you know, you're gonna have people that get good battery life, you're gonna get people that get battery life. Just like some people absolutely love this phone, and I love it, and there's people that hate it, and there's people that say they hate it and never even tried it. But again, with that said, it leads all up to, if you have enough people that have had this phone, even for a short period of time or a long period of time, and they tell their friends, hey, the battery life is awful, the cameras are awful, it's gonna add on to these memories about this phone and these thoughts that are gonna potentially give bad vibes and just a bad overall usage case to this. And again, I know they'll probably end up giving us good battery life, and there's rumors that the Z Fold 4 is actually gonna have smaller battery than this, which I hope is untrue. But if it is, obviously you're gonna get worse battery life, and it's gonna keep adding to more bad thoughts towards this phone. The last one, not a huge deal, but they did add water resistance, no dust resistance currently. I assume they're gonna add it with the Z Fold 4, so that could be something we add on to this list as well. But ultimately, I'm just a little worried that Samsung came out the gates maybe a little bit too early in most people's eyes, and I think that's probably true in the grand scheme of things. This is a difficult device not to only purchase because it's expensive, but to wrap your head around and start using. It'll wow people, don't get me wrong. I bring this phone, I'll wow people when I go somewhere that, oh, that phone is crazy cool. But at the same time, it's like, dude, it's a crazy phone to use. And you add all these things where Samsung kind of held back for whatever reason. Either technologically they couldn't add it, or price, because the price is like just so high they can't afford it. There's multiple reasons why it would hold you back from getting, and you can't just keep adding this up. It's gonna create memories for these people where they're just not going to trust the brand of this Z Fold at the end of the day. And I know, and I feel in my heart that the folding phones and the flip phones are gonna be phones of the future, and that they're gonna be phones that people buy. But I'm gonna add this in, is like, does Samsung need to change the name of it so people will engage with these phones, will give them a second chance? Or are you, at the end of the day, fine with them keeping this Z Fold name? You might be unhappy with it now, but you're willing to look at it in the future and look at it having much better cameras, much better battery life, much faster charging speeds, better dust resistance, add dust resistance, better displays, better this, better that, like just a premium, and consider it to be a premium phone and one that you'd want to purchase? Or do they just need to drop it eventually and create something new with the name overall? That's kind of where I was going with. Hopefully it wasn't all over the place. I kind of wanted to, again, get the conversation started with the phone. I think to myself, it's like, I'm just worried Samsung's creating something that will stop people from ever coming back to that Z Fold brand. I don't know. That's my question. Let me know. We'll see you guys down the road. Peace.